So I was watching a sermon by a pastor named Robert Madu, and in that sermon, he was talking about how some things just need to end when they need to end. So in light of that sermon, today, let's talk about for everything there is a season, a time for every activity under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to harvest, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build up, a time to cry and a time to laugh, a time to grieve and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to turn away, a time to search and a time to quit searching, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be quiet and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. So that passage I just read was from Ecclesiastes 3:1-8. And there's a lot of places I can go with that. But what I really want to focus on with that was its emphasis of different times for different things. Or in this case, different seasons for different things, different phases of life that you can have. Just as things begin, they also end. And when the time comes for them to end, you just allow them to end. Some endings are just necessary. These verses reflect the idea of there being different seasons of life for different things. Sometimes in life you may laugh, sometimes you may love, sometimes you may hate, sometimes you may scatter, sometimes you may gather. But there are different seasons of life for different things. And it's only God who truly determines what season of life you are in and what season of life you're going to go to. And no matter how much you plan, the only one that determines where you're going to go is Him. But if you behave in a manner or live a lifestyle that doesn't reflect the current season that you're in, you may find yourself feeling like God Himself is fighting against you. Imagine you get a letter in the mail. You open it up and it says, "Congratulations, you won an all expense paid vacation to Cancun." They say, "Here's a suitcase and a packing list. Please bring X, Y, and Z." So you open up your closet, you grab some shirts, some shoes, some sunscreen, just bring everything that you see is on the list. Then you look over and you see your jacket, your winter jacket. Now this jacket isn't just any jacket. This is a top quality jacket. This jacket has held you down in the coldest of times, the worst of times. In the dead of winter, that jacket was there for you. And this might be the best jacket you've ever owned. So you pack your jacket. So you take your jacket, put it in your suitcase, only to find out that it won't fit. There's just not enough room. So you force it to fit and you zip the suitcase up and you head to the airport and you go to weigh your bag, put it up on the scale and you struggle to, right? And they say, "I'm sorry, unfortunately, this bag is just too big. You cannot come on this plane." So you open up your bag, you see your shirts, your shoes, you see that jacket. And they tell you, "Sir, you're going to Mexico. You don't need a jacket there. You might die with that on." So you decide to part ways with your jacket. And it was hard and it was sad, but it's necessary for where you're going. And this same example can be reflected in our own lives in a plethora of different ways. When God tells you, "I'm taking you into this new season, please pack X, Y, and Z." And you say, "All right, God, I'm gonna pack X, Y, and Z. And I'm also gonna pack A, B, C, and D as well." You try to put it in the bag, it just won't fit. There's not enough room for you to take all that. And when you try and take things from a previous season of life and bring them into a new one, you're just gonna be carrying around a bag that you're not built to carry. You just don't have the muscle for that. And after a while, you will feel the strain of that extra load. So when you're entering a new season of life, there's things you need to bring and things you need to drop. And it's hard and it's sad, but it's necessary for where you're going. You may be going into a season where you truly need to cultivate a better relationship with God. So other relationships may need to end, or God may need you to live to your 95. So He may take you into a season where you're gonna have to start counting calories. You're gonna have to cut down on fast food. Or maybe you've been praying for peace, right? And God's trying to answer that prayer. So He's gonna take you into a season where you need to stop listening to certain songs because He's saying, "Hey, some of these songs, they perpetuate anger within you." And be honest about it when God tells you what you may need to drop or even pick up. And you may be asking, how do I even ask God that kind of question? And the answer is prayer. Now, today's episode is not about prayer, but for the moment, let's branch off. If you sincerely ask God, like you're talking to a person, you don't need to necessarily bow your head or do any specific pose or anything like that. Just ask Him with an open heart and an open mind. Like sincerely ask Him, "Where are you taking me and what do I need to do in order to be ready for that place?" And He will answer you. Like it might not be audible. If it is audible, God bless you. That would really freak me out personally, but he may answer you through friends, family, TV shows, a billboard, or even this video. And that's not necessarily to push you to say, hey, God, show me a sign, but when he does answer you, it will be undeniable. And you may have said that prayer right now, maybe in your heart, and even right now, some things are popping into your head that you need to drop or pick up. So maybe that one friendship needs to end, or maybe you need to delete social media for a little while. Whatever it is, whatever you feel in your heart, be honest about it. And if you're truly trying to grow in relationship with him, then you need to be obedient when he speaks. And it might not be the most super loud or obvious sign, but it will be apparent, because God isn't gonna try to force you to do something that you don't want to do. But if you do choose to trust him, you gotta trust that packing list as well. Not that I was ever in need, for I learned how to be content with whatever I have. I know how to live on almost nothing, or almost everything. I have learned the secret to living in every situation, whether it is a full stomach or empty, with plenty or little. For I have everything through Christ who gives me strength. Now, usually people just read verse 13 and they can take it out of context sometimes and think it's just about them winning a football game, right? But I chose to read those verses together in order to emphasize the message of being content in every situation. Because when you do take that step and you say, God, I trust where you're taking me. I trust what you're giving me is enough. I trust that where I'm going, I need to go. Then you will really know that God will supply everything you need for that season and that there's no need to worry. Because if he determines what season you're in when, then he determines what you need and what is enough for you. Because we don't know everything. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know who we'll encounter. And we don't know how arrogant it could make us if we were allowed to pack our best fits every single day instead of having to just pack regular clothes. But it all starts back at that suitcase and back with that jacket. You can't board the plane if your bag is too heavy. You just can't take it with you. No matter how much you love the things from the previous season, no matter how good they were to you, no matter the memories and emotions you have attached to them, you can't put those things above God, and your time with them must come to an end. And it may be hard and it may be sad, but it's necessary for where you're going.